This is hurting my throat like no one can believe. But let's forge ahead. We're here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here. Which means, Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for doing that for me, Apollo. I couldn't do it myself. I'm not sober at the moment. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it had to have been shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this? What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? What indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime? The second witness couldn't have seen the crime. Or the dead body, or whatever. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Oh! That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What? What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Bailiff, this is a court of law, and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigation team at the Borscht Club. They've examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh, and what did they find? Well, Your Honor, it turns out there was a secret passage behind it. What? Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something like that now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing when you have your... A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal going-ons. You never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. This just gotten so much more intense. Kristoff is insanely pissed off. Phoenix is sort of an asshole, but like a manipulative asshole. Those cool, collected, manipulative assholes. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. I'm giving up on you. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can all probably figure it out ourselves at this point. I think this is insane that we just get introduced to this guy. He is Apollo Justice's chief, and then suddenly he's a murderer. Like, that took a huge fucking leap, man. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Oh! Eek! Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Oh wait, was that Phoenix, right? Miss Olga O'Reilly was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out of her secret passageway and into the hideout, and the victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor, and the fact that they were all red. Ugh. Oh, I'm getting so close. I can taste it. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly, truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest. Immediately. Oh, no need to apologize. I'd rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me? My throat is really hurting. Oh my god. The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What has he done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Oh, illegal evidence? Well, let me ask you, Mr. Gavin, is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course, this bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down. Excuse me. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how caught the fish squirms and that. My head is swimming and I cannot read straight. See how the codfish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down? Other than to... Gulp. Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. How about you just say the answer in plain words? Yeah, Phoenix. It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions indeed. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said to the court that the court, in this case, demanded an explanation. Don't worry. Justice won't leave until justice is done. He's so proud of himself for that. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle were upside down? Pick it up off the floor. To pick it up from the crate? Wait. I guess you could pick it up like that, off the floor. That's kind of weird. Pick it up. But then you just have to... But then you'd be holding it weird. You'd be holding it by the neck. That's... Unless Phoenix Wright holds the bottle weird. This is the same photo, pretty much. You know, this is kind of the only thing we haven't used. And it's the only one that makes sense. This would be the only time where he would pick up the bottle to take it down. So let's go with that. Bam! Actually, it's easier to show you this than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me? Excuse me? On the floor? Yes, now reach down and pick it up. Without getting caught in your chair. Ah! See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the other side of his piano bench. How would he would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times? Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that evening, Kristoff. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. So that means he still has a bottle. Order, order, order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascination. So this is the legendary attorney's vain tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle? Where's your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle's proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall that I requested an additional investigation? Oh, yes. I have your memo about that right here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the time of the Borscht Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. What are you going to test that for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if anyone on that put his. Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes. Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright. That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. Something in it? The card! Well, how do we know Phoenix didn't just put the bottle back? There's something inside the bottle. It's... What's this? That card! It can't be! Recall the unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Orley? Yes, our little swindling... whatever that word is. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost that last hand, like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the Five of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I dispensed the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Guess that's the card. The Five of Hearts. And this is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the fourth person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Ooh. Oh my god, what's gonna... He's gonna get mad, he's gonna get mad. Oh my god. What the hell? He's the power of gravity. Oh, he's beyond pissed. Pain is frightened. Oh my god. So intense. That is all. You are such a fucking asshole, Phoenix. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge for what? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic. Straight and true, and full of lies and bluffs. You know, the usual. So, revenge for taking his badge away? Does Christoph Gavin have something to do with his badge? Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. This is so much process in like the first trial. Fine. I'm glad we could have this tete-a-tete, right? This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? No, you suck. I believe this time we've finally come to an end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're prosecuting his arrest right now. We're processing his arrest right now. So wait, he killed the guy? So he killed him and he confessed. Well, why did he kill him? What does he have to do with Phoenix's badge? Phoenix's badge. What is going on? I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? Or none that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. An odd profession, to be sure, and that's all we know about him. I'll arrange for a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Wright. Yes. 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Fist bump. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. Oh man, so much is going on beyond the scenes. This game is gonna be so weird, so confusing, so many twists and turns. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated. This courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? A dark time is coming for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own court system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us. And I, for one, am looking forward to it. Oh, he looked really nice in there. I don't know if it was different from his other faces, but it looked really nice. Well, it seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Oh my god. Oh, the confetti in the pretty courtroom. Oh god, this trial. Oh gosh, that took a toll on me. So many things happening. This court is adjourned. I want to see the daughter again. Give me the daughter. I'm about to pass out from air loss, oxygen deprivation, whatever. Gosh, okay. Thanks, Apollo. You came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. Kinda, yeah. It was you who cornered Mr. the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too, today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, the sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if he means the trippy thing that happened with Miss O'Reilly. I have one question to ask the witness. You say you saw the moment of the defendant hit the crime. That didn't even make sense. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? The answer, right. Why does this trial, this case, always want to hide everything from me? Why am I not good enough for you? Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to have committed the murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. Oh, she is so cute. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Eh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. What? Wait, but that's perjury! You testified! You said the locket was yours! I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with the picture of your daughter inside? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still getting started with your career. And what a career it has been so far. Speaking of which, I may be out of the job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yeah? How about coming to work for me? Eh? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Offices? You still own it? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but you're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion. And he left the law for good. Someone tell me! Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in the law of court, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, that's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet this was the forged evidence. Was it this card? Okay, I'm just gonna shut up. Because that was the only weird thing. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes. That card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. So, he forged evidence 7 years ago? This is really sad. But Phoenix is kind of an asshole now. Like, yeah, I forged evidence. Just so I can get this asshole put in jail. So what? Yeah, I'm pretty cool. None of that matters much now, does it? No! I punched him. Oh yeah, go Apollo. Phoenix Wright did deserve it. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, and about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that," next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. You magnificent bastard. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. And I am done with the first case. That was quite a roller coaster. Quite the story. Not all questions have been answered. In fact, I am extremely confused. But, we shall have them all answered in later games. Oh well.